Things have been pretty serious around Driftwood for the last month or so, with the big CWD event, the passing of Jerry Presley, and a lot of other aspects of life. We thought it'd be a good week just to take it easy, have our good friend on, talk about a lot of different topics, catch up on how fast summer's gone by, and what we're looking forward to this fall. I'm Brandon Butler.
I'm Nathan Shags McLeod,
I'm Joe Hawkins.
and welcome to the Driftwood Outdoors Podcast. We should start this thing with I'm going to be a little look at me Louie and pat myself on the back, but accomplished quite the feat. Went 3 days without eating. I did a 72-hour water fast, and I can't say enough good things about that, man. It wasn't easy, but it wasn't nearly as hard as I thought it was going to be. There was a bit of a stretch there that was kind of rough, but they're not kidding where you get extra energy. There's periods of euphoria and just creativity. You're very alert. And even afterwards now, Brandon, I mean, you saw it. We were at Paddle Dawn's wedding this past weekend. Congratulations, Paddle Dawn and Rebecca. I'm sure we'll do a little bit of a recap there. But at the rehearsal dinner, like I passed on nachos and pizza and I was like, I can't do it. I don't want to put that stuff back in my guts yet. And went and had some vegetables and various things. And now Savannah this weekend, she's going to do one Thursday through Sunday, and I'm out of town. So I wish her the best of luck. But I've been feeling really good afterwards. It was pretty incredible. I think I'm going to start doing it once or twice a year.
Really? So, I mean, kudos for doing it. Anytime you do something that challenging and mentally overcome it, that's awesome to push yourself to do that. I've been curious about the physical benefits that you've experienced. You just mentioned a couple of them, but how does it feel kind of coming down from it? I know there's that euphoric stuff in the middle, but after it's over, like what's the big purpose?
Well, yeah, and that's the important thing too, is because everyone was joking, like, oh, what was your first meal? I bet it was like, oh, you're gonna go get chicken wings or a big fat juicy burger or nachos. And man, the meal you have after the fast is almost as important as the fast itself. So it wasn't anything good. It was like a weird bone broth soup with kimchi, spinach, carrots, and zucchini, some cucumber slices with salt, 2 hard-boiled eggs, and then for dessert, I splurged and went a little nuts and had a bowl of sauerkraut. Spoiled myself with a bowl of sauerkraut, but it was all about getting that, especially with my Crohn's and my digestive tract, of getting that good bacteria, that good base, that good biome in there. And Brian Ware of Brian Ware Plumbing, shout out to him. He did it with me too. He actually went 85 hours. I went 72. But I texted him afterwards. It's like, dude, do you just feel better? Like, I can't tell you exactly, like, this is what it is. It's just, I just felt better. I can't explain it. And he goes, yeah, I've been dealing with that today too. Just feel better. And since then, I haven't had any soda or any candy or sugar or anything like that. And I just feel like I'm sleeping better. I feel like I'm lighter. I just feel better.
I mean, think about the way the human body is put together and how we eat now compared to what we were designed to do. And we were meant to have times of hunger. And we're fortunate to live in a country and in a society where the only way you know hunger, for us three talking, there are unfortunately a lot of people that know it for many other reasons, but the only way we know hunger in our comfortable lives is to choose it. And, that hopefully puts some perspective out there though for the people that live with it. It's a unfortunate situation that exists, but we're fortunate enough to be able to choose to try to be hungry. I'm sure it's amazing for the body.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It wasn't really for weight loss because I only lost 2 pounds of actual like fat off me. It was more of kind of flushing all the cells, the bad cells, the dying cells, just kind of resetting not only my immune system but my whole body. And it was pretty entertaining because I did a lot of research. I went into this like months of like talking about it, looking into it. And the one thing I didn't look into though was insomnia, because I was watching all these influencers and these other things and reading about, oh, it's the greatest sleep you'll ever have. It's going to be fantastic. Well, that first night, the hardest stretch was hour 22 to about hour 30. And that just happened to be that first night when I was trying to sleep through it, and I was wide awake. It wasn't like, oh, I'm tired and you just can't sleep. We've all been there. Or your mind's racing and you just can't shut it off. It was like I was alert. I was awake. I was ready to go. And about midnight, I'm like, what the hell is going on here? I'm not even yawning. And I start doing some searching on the internet. And sure enough, that is a side effect of long, prolonged fasts, is that it's like our caveman, our DNA brain going, dude, you haven't had anything to eat for a day. You don't get to rest. Like, go out, find some berries, shoot get an animal, get some meat. Like, what are you doing laying down? You need to go find something to eat. But the second night was probably the best sleep I've ever had. So it was a weird mix of kind of a roller coaster of feelings and just the mental fortitude, because there is a lot of temptation out there. I mean, Brandon, you kind of touched on it. Like, you can't leave your house. You can't go a couple of feet without having an option to eat. Like,
you can't leave your couch.
You're surrounded by it.
You got food in your house to last months.
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm glad I did it. I'm gonna keep doing it. I'm probably do it a couple of times a year, but this is the one time for 2025. I'll probably try to do it again after the holidays, maybe in February of next year.
Joe, you ever done anything like that?
No, I'm too much on the wagon the other way. I have lunch at 11:30, like my grandpa, and dinner at like 4:30. I get I get those same feelings that Shags was talking about, having to drive out there and get something about 11 o'clock.
You actually have gravy put on the chicken fried steak, right?
Yeah.
Give me a little extra gravy there. Yeah. So I've not done a fast, but I did a juice cleanse recently. A friend of mine has a company called High Vibe in Chicago, multiple locations, and they do incredible juices, very, very organic. I don't know, like whatever the most super organic stuff is. I did one of his juice cleanses, but I was on the road. Like, I'd already scheduled it, and then I had to go away for work. So it was kind of a pain in the ass the way it went down. But I was really intrigued by it. I liked the process. I liked all the natural stuff I was eating. And same thing, it's definitely an addiction, the food, because you come off something like that, come off what Shags just did, like, I'm going to stay healthy forever. And then you have one French fry. And then you have like another French fry. And next thing you know, you're getting a whole pizza down again. And you got to break it. So I want to continue to do those high vibe juice cleanses. But what Nick and I are talking about doing, and I'm excited about, is creating an adventure company, taking young professionals out of Chicago, basically his customers, on adventure trips that would be like a 4-day northern Michigan juice cleanse / outdoor adventure, where you fly fish one day, raft one day, go to the dunes one day, things like that. So you can actually mix the physical activities with, the natural food.
I'm super stoked to hear you guys are doing that up in Michigan, not on the river we no longer speak of. That's a great plan.
These are like young professional. Yeah. Our clientele, the Lululemon clientele, would be scared down where we don't. I don't know if they'd come back.
Yeah. I was very surprised with how much energy I had through the whole experience too. Like, I still went to the gym. I still threw the kettlebell around. I did all my workouts like I normally did. And you all right over there, buddy? I thought we were going to lose you for a second.
You got a mute button down there.
All this talk of not eating's getting the best of them. But the other big takeaway I found afterwards now is I have a lot more self-control. Like, even driving back from Indiana, that was like a 7.5 hour drive for us from Paddle Don's wedding. And I didn't eat one of the candies that was in the little gift bag they gave us. Like, I've found it now a little bit easier to say no to the things that I normally wouldn't have been able to. And yeah, I mean, and if you're curious, send me a message. I can give you a little more info. I'm not trying to make this a 60-minute podcast about how I did a 72-hour fast, but it was just water, black coffee in the morning. And then I was putting the Baja Gold mineral salt 4 times in my water. That it was funny. You look forward to the taste of the kind of the salt, and you're always like it's time for some salt water. Nice. And then I was putting a scoop of creatine twice a day in my water to help with any cognitive issues. and try to keep some of my muscle mass. So
Yeah.
if you got any
All right,
questions,
we're 10 minutes
email
in.
me.
I'm pretty sure we've run off all the flat earthers by now. We can get into the things we really want to talk about. So if you thought this was going to be a hardcore outdoor podcast, welcome to Driftwood.
Yep.
One cool thing coming out of Missouri, we now know the co-deputy director of the FBI. I never thought I'd have a friend in that role, but congratulations to Andrew Bailey. I'm really glad that's the only campaign contribution I made in the last cycle was to Andrew Bailey's campaign. Hat tip to James Lawson. Uh, but watching that climb, that meteoric rise of a politician from here in Missouri, it's pretty impressive. And if you go back and listen to the Sean Ryan podcast that Andrew Bailey was on, I think it helps you understand why this guy's on such a climb. I mean, he's a decorated veteran. He's just a really sharp lawyer. Seems to be a very solid human being. Has 4 children, adopted 3, had 1 natural. Just the guy's on his path, and sounds like a really good guy. Has been promoted to a really important position. So congratulations to Andrew and everybody that's associated with that team. So
I like how you're giving me shit about us being an outdoor podcast because I was talking about my
Yeah.
fast, and you went right into politics.
Well, we talk a lot of policy on this podcast.
We do.
And now we're going to be able to find out if there's aliens at Roswell. I thought you'd be excited. We'll get him around a campfire and not let him leave until he tells us.
I was hoping he'd release the Epstein files now that he's going into the FBI.
Yeah. He's one guy going to Washington whose name's probably not on it. So.
Yeah.
So good for him. Another cool thing going on is the 75th anniversary of the Dingell-Johnson Act. So the Dingell-Johnson Sport Fish Restoration Act became law on August 9th, 1950. Since then, the act's generated $19.3 billion of inflation-adjusted revenues for state aquatic resources and boating efforts. The act is what gives us the greatest fishing in the world in the United States, and it supports maintenance and operations, such as providing over 9,000 public boating and fishing access areas. It's modeled after the Pittman-Robertson Federal Aid and Wildlife Restoration Act of 1937 that steered the excise taxes on firearms, ammunition, and eventually archery gear towards state agencies to help fund conservation of wildlife. So 75 years we've been paying taxes to create better fishing. So that's certainly a tax I don't mind paying, a few pennies extra for everything that we get from the Dingell-Johnson and Pittman-Robertson Acts.
I'd agree with you on that.
What else is going on? Oh, we talk about the river we no longer speak of, but Joe is a North Missouri guy, so he can appreciate a muddy stream, a muddy river, and none are muddier than the mighty Mo herself. And living here where I do, so close to the river, I have not spent hardly any time out there. I mean, I can count the number of times I've been on the Missouri River on my fingers. And I always say I should do more of it. And I always say the further north you go in Missouri, the prettier that river becomes, the more wild it is. And MDC is hosting a 12-mile canoe trip on Saturday, September 6th on the Missouri River from Nottoway Island access to French Bottom access. So this is near St. Joe. If you want to take part, you got to take part in a training on Friday the 5th at Belcher Branch Lake. MDC will have everything that you need to participate. You got to register, so just go on MDC's website. There's an events tab. The canoe is provided. You got to bring your own water, snacks, lunch, sunscreen, personal items, but your life jacket, your paddle, your canoe, and you'll be guided down the Missouri River in a beautiful part of the state. So, Joe, you ever been on the river up there by St. Joe?
I've never been on it. I lived in Boonville for several years and had went on it a few times with some guys I worked with, fishing catfish, bank poles, that sort of thing like that. And It's a lot. That's a lot of water, and it moves real fast. Kudos to anybody that can get out there and pilot around on it. I'm more of a wading guy. I like waist deep to chest deep water. If it gets deeper than faster than that, I don't. It's almost too much.
Yeah, the Missouri River at one time was like a backcountry gravel road. It was
Yeah.
real slow moving. It was very wide and spread out. When Lewis and Clark went up the river, it didn't look like anything it looks like today. Today, it's a channelized interstate of water. So that water is moving so fast compared to what it did historically in between the levees on both sides. It's a shipping canal at this point, but still, there's beautiful scenery along the river, bluffs, forest, prairies, and a lot of wildlife. So, Brett DeFur has always talked a lot about it and led canoe trips out there. And then our friends at Missouri River Relief, they do a lot to advocate for the river as well. So, anyways, anybody listening in that North Missouri area that's never done a canoe trip, here it is for free. So,
hard pass. Joe, did you know that Brandon signed us up for the Missouri River 340, the MR 340, a couple of years ago, and
paid the money?
Didn't even ask me. Paid him money, put the deposit down. He's like, "Hey, we're doing this." Like, I'm not. I'm too big. I've given up being in a canoe years ago. And he's like, "No, we're doing it." I was like, "You're gonna have to find someone else. I'm not going 340 miles nonstop in a canoe. No way." So I think we just made a donation.
Sounds like a rough time.
It would be rough. It's like fasting.
It's supposed to be tough. Yes,
you're supposed to do rough things in life.
But yeah. I don't want to bend my legs into a canoe for 72 hours.
A lot of people do it. Johnny Dare rode a jet ski from downtown Kansas City to St. Louis, the radio DJ from Kansas City.
Yeah.
I think he set the time record for it. It's been probably 10 years ago or so.
Oh, that's funny.
That'd be something else.
How far did he go?
He went from downtown Kansas City to downtown St. Louis.
That's cool.
Yeah. He set I think he was going to try to set like the time record for it for some sort of charity thing.
You guys remember a few years ago when they were doing all that speculation on that like supersonic train that was supposed to run from St. Louis to Kansas City?
Yeah.
I wish that would have happened.
It's
supposed to be like 500 miles an hour or something.
Hey, did anyone ever get that bid? Because I know like there was a bunch of places bidding to try to get it, and I just figured we didn't get it.
Was it California, maybe? I think that they're going to do some Hyperloop in California, maybe.
It's pretty wild.
Speaking of that Sean Ryan podcast, I've been really into him. I've really been enjoying it, and he had a guy on there that's doing like supersonic air travel. They're building planes that are supposed to cut our flight times like more than half. So that was pretty fascinating talking about the supersonic stuff.
Yeah. Hey, I got a little trivia for you guys. So I was going through things and found fish ages. All right. Just going to do some guessing here. But in most heavily fished waters, what would you say is an age largemouth rarely make it past?
A largemouth?
Yeah. In heavily fished waters.
Probably 4 years old.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. I'll do a year older. 5.
8.
Oh.
They rarely make it past 8 years old. How long do you think a bluegill will commonly live in a heavily fished water?
You go first, Shags.
Well, we know a largemouth does 8. I don't think a bluegill lives as long. So I'll take Joe's first answer, 4 years.
I'll do 3.
6 to 8.
Wow.
I was surprised. That's why I wrote these down.
A little bluegill. Good for you.
I was surprised by these. How many years does it take for a walleye to reach 30 inches?
Oh, man. I should know this one. We were actually talking about it with our guide. It takes a long time.
10 years?
I'd say 12.
10 years.
Oh.
Atlantic coast stripers. So the big striped bass, Johnny Graham and all my Martha Vineyard folks are out there chasing. How old do you think one of those typically are? Out there in the ocean.
One that they catch?
Yeah, like a good size one, like an old one.
Go ahead, Chase.
Well, let's do 8 years.
It's like 20 years.
On the dot, Joseph Hawkins.
Whoa,
20
20?
years. And then, what is the oldest recorded age of a Greenland shark?
Oh, that's like 385 years or something like that.
It's like 643 years.
Shags for the win. Close.
Oh.
392.
I knew it was 390 something, upper 300.
390-year-old shark.
Wow.
Think how
That's
many
wild.
beachgoers that shark's probably eaten in its life. So,
How many toes it's nibbled on.
yeah.
Those are like deep water, like the darkest depths, I think, sharks, aren't they? They're pretty hard to spot.
I think they live in cold water.
I watched the show how they catch them. They take like metal, like 55-gallon metal drums, and they put chains that go all the way to the bottom of the ocean with big hooks on them, and then they drag the hooks along the bottom. It's to like basically snag them up, I guess. This is one way they do it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so fish.
Well, I have a question for you guys. Something that's been all right, it's going to be a bit of a rant. But Joe, you were at our CWD event at Runge with Doug and Kip and Jason. So now people have been sending me stuff, rightfully so. And shout out Bryant Rackers, who's been on the podcast, has a handful of state record fishing records. But he sent me a link to a Ted Nugent post. And I hope you guys aren't fans of Ted Nugent, because I'm going to have a real rant on how this guy became the spokesperson for anything, because the guy is just a scumbag. He always has been. I mean, in 1983, the guy's 32 years old, wrote a song called Jailbait about wanting to have sex with a 13-year-old. And somehow this guy now is the voice of reason when it comes to anything against politics. And he had a big post saying the Minnesota DNR, Michigan DNR, Wisconsin DNR, Missouri Department of Conservation, and Texas Parks and Wildlife have completely lost their minds and their souls and conscience. We must shut these jackboot punks immediately. Shut down these jackboot punks immediately. And had a bunch of pictures of cold deer. And then there's people on here going like, how do we stop it? And it's like, why are we taking anything from Ted Nugent? The guy drives me absolutely nuts. Anybody? Are we just...
rant over?
Well, I mean, I'm still really fired up, but I mean, it's how this scumbag is now the voice of reason just blows my mind, because he has a history of just being a giant piece of shit, but now everyone like bows at his feet of conservation and conservatism, going, oh God, oh Uncle Ted, please show us the way. And I've never liked him from the beginning. Yeah. He's a high fence, shoot him from a helicopter, piece of garbage that now is just running around screaming at the top of his lungs, but he says it with such conviction. People just believe it as truth. And I'm seeing people in Missouri on his pages like, we need you here, come save us. I was like, how is this guy anyone's savior? And how is anyone even listening to anything he has to say?
Every movement needs a celebrity, all right? If they can get one, they use it. This one sucks for me, man, because I started off almost every hunt for so many years listening to the song Fred Bear. And Ted Nugent, his relationship to Fred Bear and knowing that. And it was heartbreaking when I found out that, Ted Nugent doesn't adhere to what his own song says. He doesn't go up into the great North Woods and tangle with the grizzly bear or the brown bear or cleanse his soul. He opens his back door and walks into a 300-acre fenced-in yard and shoots pets. I mean, he feeds these animals. And it is what it is. And these high fence guys that are now leading the charge against CWD, it's unbelievable. But I have had to accept the fact that there is a population of people who truly believe the earth is flat. Like, they have the same rights as you. They have the same freedoms as you. And you have to share like all these abilities with them. So as worked up as I've gotten lately, like when I read that stuff, okay, flat earther, like, so I'm sorry that no one loved you enough in your life to help you become more intelligent. It's a shame. Should have had more of a chance in life. But if you're there, like, thinking that Ted Nugent somehow represents what's best for wildlife and the future of hunting, like, don't fall off the edge of the earth if you get too close to the end, because that's just insane.
And I know we could spend, and we do a lot of times. Normally, it's Brandon that gets all worked up and starts screaming, and I feel like it's me this time about this CWD issue and MDC. But even some of the comments on there, and Joe, I'd like your opinion because you were at that meeting as well. But one of my favorites was, we need to get these politicians out of there, and we need farmers and real hunters to be in charge of this. And I was thinking, I was like, do you see that panel? Because we had a farmer, and then we have real hunters, but we have real hunters that have dedicated their whole lives to deer biology and learning about deer and how to save them, and not just Jim Bob on in his overalls and his riding lawnmower going up to the gas station to get a sixer of beer. Like, what are we doing with our lives?
Yeah,
Man, like, oh, go ahead, Joe.
yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people that think that they speak for everybody as a whole, and that's not at all the case. I mean, one of the guys stood up and said that the reason that he goes hunting is to get a trophy buck and get the biggest buck that he can get. Well, that's not why I do it, and that's not why I've ever done it. And I've been doing it for probably about as long as he has, and will continue to do it even after he's not doing it. I think that that's kind of lost on everyone why it's important to keep doing it. And it's not to gather inches, it's to gather people. That's why I do it, because my grandpa went, because my brothers go, and I take my son, and we're going to take, his kid someday. That's what's important. Not I that's not what I don't think about. Boy, am I going to kill the world record deer? I think, how am I going to be able to get everybody together to go?
I think you just nailed it, man. I can't even begin to describe how much hunting has changed in the 30 years I've been real serious about it. When I was a kid, just piecing together any kind of warm clothing, whether you were in a snowmobile suit or, 3 layers of long johns, you knew your feet were going to freeze. And now you're like on a team, and you take pictures of the deer long before you kill one. You have a name for it. And that, like, that's going to be the end of hunting. I stand by that, because the general public is going to decide whether or not the 7 or 6% of us that go out and deer hunt will get to continue. So when those people are screaming,
Exactly right.
there's like 200 of those people, like, collectively around Missouri, maybe, screaming at Facebook. And I saw every one of them at the state fair. I was there for a week. I walked around and I'm like, oh my God, like, that's the guy I'm fighting with. So to all my, like, highly intelligent friends that are like, calm down, dude, take a breath. Like, those are flat earthers. Like, don't worry about them. Like, keep working the process, keep getting good information out there. So I'm glad to see him getting at you, Shags. I like to see that I'm not the only one. But at the end of the day, like, we just put out incredible information that's been viewed over 8,000 times on YouTube. It's been listened to thousands more times on other platforms. And I know for a fact that we changed some people's opinions and minds. And if Ted Nugent wants to destroy wildlife, then that's unfortunate. Like, I appreciate what Ted Nugent has done for the Second Amendment. Like, I've always appreciated to have a voice that loud. Not that I even agree with everything, but there's voices that loud on the other side. I don't like that his voice is that loud as the representation of hunting, because I don't think he represents me as a hunter. I don't want to fire 30 rounds out of a fully automatic machine gun into a herd of wild pigs from a helicopter, like, wounding and maiming and destroying them. So Joe, I think you nailed it. Like, when somebody says every hunter does this, all hunters do that, We could eliminate the word all, always, never from our vocabulary and be much more correct. Because the guy who's saying that, who I do like and respect a lot, he's an outfitter, and there's another guy on these forums that never shuts up. He's an outfitter. So I've been going at him on the forums very politely, like, so you bring people in from out of state. They kill all your neighbors' bucks. You brag online about how good the hunting is on your small acreage. You call it a small acreage. So you sell hunts on a small acreage to kill your neighbor's deer. You profit from that public resource that all of us pay for. And then you go online and just verbally destroy the organization that has set up that system for you to profit from. Like, tell me what I'm missing, dude. Like, what's missing? So,
well, and they all sound like spoiled little crybabies. Like, we literally just replayed an interview with Jerry Presley where he talked about when he was a child, when they found a deer track, they let people out of school. Like, school got out early to go see a deer track because of how unheard of it was in one person's lifetime. The man just passed away at the age of like 94, and now we're looking at like 1.7 million deer, and everyone's bitching about how the department's not managing them correctly. And I just want to go around and shake each individual, just going, what are you doing? Like, go to a different state and see what mismanagement actually is. I've lived in a couple of them, and this isn't it.
Yeah, man, it's mind-blowing. It's just, there's a lot of angry people because other people have it better than they have it, and it's not their fault that other people have in their mind that other people have it better, so just because they don't have it, they're going to destroy it for everyone. And we're running into that big time in the hunting world, because hunting used to be what Joe's talking about. Like, I know for a fact Joe and I grew up the same way. It was just like, which family members were there, the special places that you were going to go. And now it's just ego and antler inches. And, I was asked to apply for a CEO role of a major organization in the outdoor space. And I just can't do it. I mean, a hunting organization at this point, like, I'm not there. Like, I'm so upset with so much of the hunting demographic right now that I was just like, I can't do that,
And
so
part of it could be my bias too, because we've had an opportunity to, not only on my radio show and even on this podcast, to get to like try to interview Ted Nugent, but I just can't do it. I've never liked the guy, and I know Bob Father listens, and Bob Father's got great stories of him and Uncle Ted and some of the writing he used to do. But for that guy just just rubs me the wrong way. And I know he's backtracked now on the whole story about him doing meth and pooping his pants to get out of the war, that he didn't do that. That was just a buddy he said that told him that story. So then he said it in an interview because they'll post anything in a magazine. And I feel like that's kind of convenient now to backtrack on that. Just nothing that guy has ever done have I respected. So when I start seeing him take shots at MDC, I want to go on there and just post the lyrics to that jailbait and like, this is your guys' hero. He literally has lyrics in there telling the cops to take the handcuffs on him and put them on her so they can share her. It's like, this is your hero, guys. He's a scumbag.
Half those people that are pissed off about the Epstein list are just mad because they didn't get a chance to be on it.
No,
yeah.
Okay, ran over. I'm done.
Steve Jones has a editorial that he went head to head with Ted Nugent on CWD. So Steve maintains a good relationship with him, and because Ted used to write an article for the Outdoor Guide in each issue, and Steve just challenged him back, and they had a civil discourse, I suppose. But yeah, it's so loud and aggressive. It's definitely a lesson in tactics. When he doesn't make sense, when it doesn't compute, he just screams it louder. And it's like you're shell shocked by like the aggressiveness, like the word vomiting that he does, like so fast and so aggressive that you don't know how to keep up. So it feels like you're in a foxhole getting machine gun fire thrown over your head. And I think most people are afraid of him because of that. But at the end of the day, when it comes to hunting, he hunts in a high fence. His Sunrise Acres in Michigan, I have the number memorized. It's 320 acres. And this is where I keep going back to these television show hunters, and he's one of them. It's these outfitters, it's these high fence hunters, and it's these washed up TV show hunters. Jay Gregory is the worst. Like that guy is such a douche. Like unbelievable. I went on a deep dive on YouTube trying to find these clips of him dressed up in this like 80s punk rock gear and wig playing the drums on his show. Like, and I don't even need to throw the lady under the bus, but like another one. I remember when there was a husband and wife team that came out and she was well endowed. So he put her on a trampoline in a bikini, like jumping up and down. Like there was no end to what these hunting TV show guys would do to be popular and to spend their own money to buy airtime and then just go beg for money from all the same companies and live like coyotes, like just trying to find enough to get the next meal or just that next dopamine hit of one more, you know, flat earther coming up to you at a farm show asking for your autograph because you had a 2:30 in the morning show on some piece of shit network nobody's ever heard of, and now they can't get the fix for their drug, so they all get on these stupid forums together and pretend like they're still relevant. It's just sad to watch.
Yeah. All right. My apologies for taking us down that road. I really want to start talking to Joe about his fly fishing fascination because I feel like he's no longer fly curious. He's full blown fly because all the posts anymore is he's out there with his fly rod now doing all sorts of fly fishing.
No, I'm pretty much living a river runs through it life right now. Since
Are you more Pauly or more Norman? There's a big difference there.
Probably more Norman, I guess I have to say that.
Because you had never really done much fly fishing, right? Until you came to the Mark Van Patten thing last year at Big Rock Candy Mountain.
Yeah, I never before that. You know, I grew up in Macon County, and I grew up right between Thomas Hill and Long Branch Lake, and you know we always had boats, and we bass fished a lot, so everyone used a bait caster or you know an open face spinning rod. Did a lot of catfishing stuff like that. There was no time for fly fishing, and it was just never part of. I don't even know anyone up there that necessarily even does that. Even when we come down and fish, maybe like Bennett Spring or something like that, everyone would always use a little ultralight, just that you know of the people that we knew. So, always been kind of curious. I didn't know how to get into it or didn't know much about the equipment. You know, it's a lot different than everything else. You know, as far as that goes.
Have you been enjoying the experience? Because you feel like it sure looks like all your social media posts that you're really ate up with it.
Oh yeah, man, I do. I like it a lot. It'd be like going from driving like a regular car to driving like a race car, like a stick shift. You know, is what I would compare it to. You know, or another thing I told someone here recently. They asked about fly fishing. I said, regular fishing with a regular pole is like going to church and talking to the preacher. I said, but fly fishing is like talking directly to God. It's like him telling you directly what's going on. That's how I feel about it anyway.
I've certainly screamed at him on a couple of backcasts when all my stuff gets tangled behind me.
Yeah, me too. I communicate with him a lot when I'm out there.
A lot of why? So
Yeah.
So since you're so new to it, do you have a story or a place or a trip that really stands out in your head?
I've been going about every weekend this summer since opening day of trout season, but really I think opening day of trout season I went and I met up with you and I caught probably the most fish I've ever caught in one that time span. I don't know if you remember, and I was just
I remember.
Never seen anything like it before. I don't know if we ever will. That was kind of a unique situation with the way the river was.
It really was. I mean, with the massive historic, never seen before flood from the fall, flushing all those fish out of the actual hatchery, and then them doing some stocking on top of that was the perfect storm of opening day madness. Like I wasn't even going to fish. I was just going to come down and create some content and take some pictures and stuff like that. Then I saw you and Brandon, like everyone was every single cast, and they were all good sized fish that luckily I just thrown my jigging rod in the back of the pickup truck. And yeah, you helped me net that 5-pounder that I got the lunker patch, the catch and release, the Montauk catch and release lunker that's hanging up at the Polish embassy. You came stomping across the stream and netted that thing for me.
Oh man, it was like all my net could handle too. That was a good fish. I think you got the biggest one of the day out of all of us, but
it was those kids back in the slough that were sluicing them though.
Oh
man.
yeah, those stringers.
That was crazy. I would have never thought to go back there like that, like those kids did. That was pretty creative.
Yeah, that was a good time, man, down there opening day. And now anymore, like it's just so I haven't fished in the park since opening day, but outside the park, it's been a rough summer. But
yeah,
like we were talking with Jeff Trigg, all spring and even the early parts of summer were nothing but flash floods. So I'm sure a lot of those fish are just misplaced or pushed farther down. Who knows?
Yeah, the crowding is an issue too on weekends.
Oh, there's people everywhere now.
Yeah. It's just really, really crowded. So the winter is when I envision myself there. Like I have these very Henry David Thoreau type visions of fishing in Montauk with, no one around, and it's a clear, crystal clear stream at that point. It's a spring creek full of fish. You got to release them all, but I want to go there when it's like that. Right now, it's a little much.
Well, right now you just got to know what it is. Like if you want the river to yourself, you got to be on it before daylight. You're on it at dark, and you're off like at 9 a.m. when everyone else starts crowding in there, and then you go back to your place, go back to your vacation estate, the single wide trailer, or your campsite, and just kind of hang out for the rest of the day, and then maybe hit it up like right at dark or something like that. Because yeah, the summer heats up. I mean, pun intended. Not only the actual temperature, but also the fishing pressure.
Yeah. Joe, are you open to talking real estate transactions?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So a cool thing has happened. Shags has had his trailer there at Montauk Village for a number of years. I've always thought it was just such a cool little community and kept my eye on the area. After Driftwood Acres wanting to have another small place to put a cabin. And lo and behold, a fella had a lot that he wanted to sell on Facebook. I just clicked on his name and I bought it from him, sight unseen, and thought this is perfect. I'm going to be, right around the corner from Shags, and went down there, stayed at the embassy. Thanks for the hospitality. And, just not feeling it, man. It's just like, it's not my place at this point. So I really thought it would be. It's interesting because you go into something sure of it, and then when I walked on that little lot and tried to get that feeling that I would expect to have, it just didn't come. And I'm in a place in my life now where, like, if it's not there, I'm not going to do it. And I started talking to Shags about it. Like, what should I do with this thing? And he said, I bet Joseph Hawkins would love it. That's his dream to have a place down there. So I reached out and you said, oh, please, I'll do anything. I think you were standing in the road with this bag. You're like, I got these cheeseburgers. I got these here cheeseburgers.
I was looking for a ski mask. I was like, oh, we're going to make it happen.
So yeah,
you're welcome, Joe.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Within 2 weeks, I bought it, and now it's in the process of being sold through the same abstract company. So, congratulations to those people for just finding a nice little bag of money, selling the same place in a month twice. But man, I couldn't be any happier. You are clearly excited about it. And you've already got plans rattling around in your head, and Rachel's awesome about it too and wants to be part of all of it. And you're telling me about your son being a carpenter, and I really like the part where you said I can come use it whenever I want. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's been my dream to have a spot down there since I was a kid. My family we farmed and had a place out in the country, so we never had an opportunity to go on those vacations to Mexico or Florida or California where you leave for 7 or 10 days. We were like 3 or 4 day weekends, had to get back to the farm. So that was our vacation, growing up, was going to the Current River and getting in a canoe and floating. I think all total, my brother Mike and I have done about 80 miles of the Current in different sections, from about almost where it starts down to, nearly Doniphan. We've went at it different sections, so over the years. So I'm glad to be down there. I'm super thankful, man. Appreciate you.
Yeah, it's crazy how it worked out, and
Yeah,
I can't wait to see what you do with it. And I'm available for labor, work. I wanted to work on it. That's the part I like. I'm just a glutton
yeah.
for punishment on that kind of stuff. So
You like building?
I do. I like building shit. So now it's back to the drawing board for me, though, where where I'm not that this place I live in is even done yet, but I'm already like on to the next thing. So where do I end up?
That's funny because I'm the exact opposite. Like I bought my lot because it was turnkey. Like you could just go in there. I bought it and I stayed in it the same night. Like I do not want to work on anything. I just want to show up and have it be done.
He hasn't even switched the furniture out yet.
No, I haven't. I put one new bed in the extra room that's ours because that bed sucked, and that's the only thing I've added furniture wise.
Dude, the embassy looks like if the cops came into the embassy, they would start doing like checks to see where a fly shop has been robbed, and this has got to be the loot. So like if a fly shop had been robbed in Montana, like it all ended up on the floor of Shags' bedroom. Like just picture his big ass sitting there, like cross-legged on the floor like it's Christmas morning, and there's just heaps and heaps of like flies and lines and rod tubes and reels and waders. It's like the mastermind sitting there with all of his stuff.
Yeah, that's what's on the other side of this computer screen here: coolers and waders and piles of junk. It's not fit for camera.
So what's your go-to fly then when you're out there using? Because I mean, I'm not super into individual name of flies. I kind of just go what I think was going to work. I went through a woolly bugger phase, and a lot of times, especially down there, fishing's been kind of harder. So I've been trying to do what we call the fast food of flies, like the glow worms, the glow balls, and the San Juan worms and stuff like that. Or are you using small little like midges or anything like that, or nymphs?
Mostly woolly bugger so far. I'm an MVP guy, Mark Van Patten. He's a woolly burger king, so that's what I like. That he showed us that technique of just floating it through a drift and then kind of catching them at the end of the run.
Yeah,
I've knocked them out with that. I think that's the way to do it. And glow balls too. I've had some luck on those as well.
Yeah, don't tell Mark that, but yeah.
Yeah, I tied one on. I thought of it when I tied it on. I was like, I hope he doesn't show up.
I do enjoy a good dead drift of not using an indicator and just that woolly bugger and just kind of watching your floating line for any type of movement, and then the strip back and actually be able to feel the hit. It almost becomes kind of like a streamer, which is a lot of fun. And back to the property. I'm all over the place on this podcast, but Brandon, Joe's been asking me a lot of questions, and as you can imagine, a lot of them I don't know the answer to. So I'm just like, I don't know, dude. You're just gonna have to figure it out yourself, I guess.
Well, September 30th is the meeting, right?
Yeah, it's the Saturday of Have you seen it on my calendar? It's the Saturday of Labor Day weekend.
You should go, Joe.
I'll already be down there. I'm gonna be down at Big Rock Candy Mountain over that time, so I'll already be down there.
Well, yeah, cool. I can introduce you to everyone if you want to go to that meeting. Yeah. I'll shoot you a text. I think it's at 11 a.m. on that Saturday.
Yeah,
there's supposed to be a water bill coming too, so you'll need to give me a forwarding address.
You got it.
Do the water bills come monthly or what?
No, it's a yearly. You pay yearly for water and trash, and then the Montauk Fire Department has a yearly bill as well.
So the water's $46 for the year, I think.
So. Just because you don't have anything on it. Mine's a lot more than that, but with just the lot and nothing built on it, it's pretty reasonable. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Joe, we didn't cover the taxes, man. So I hope this doesn't break the bank. If you can back out if you need to, but last year the taxes on this lot were $8.
Oh my god.
Podcast over, done.
Yeah, if you need to step away and go ask Rachel if you guys can split that 50-50 and give me those $4 a piece.
Yeah. I'll cash in my 401k to make sure I can keep it.
Well, that's my retirement plan, is to pay that thing off and put a small little home on there, and then hopefully be one of the old people down at the lodge just selling flies and just making enough money to put food on the table and fly fish every day.
Yeah, that's what Rachel said. She said she's going to work at the cafe and I'll be the groundskeeper. You work at the fly shop.
So we all just think so differently. You guys are like wanting to go down there and work for those other people. Like, why don't you just start your own thing? Have your own lodge.
Oh,
buy something.
Because I'd rather just work 4 hours out of the day and then fish the rest. Like, what I want to do the minimum amount of work to just make sure my stuff's paid for, and I'll spend my time on the river.
You're like Kevin Spacey in American Beauty. I'm looking for the least amount of responsibility possible.
With preferably the highest amount of pay.
I want to be like Ron Kruger, but not having to eat the squirrels every night.
Oh, yeah. Dude, saying I want to be like Ron Kruger, I could coach you. I spent a lot of time with that guy. I wish I would have wrote down things he said. I remember sitting around the fire thinking I should go find a piece of paper and write that down so many times, and never did. And just so many one-liners. Just unreal, that guy.
Oh, that's too funny. Man, did you see that someone in the LOZ, Lake of the Ozark, got that brain-eating amoeba from swimming in the lake?
Mm-hmm.
It's not real. It's not real. There's no.
I feel like it happens every year down there at some point.
I mean, I can't believe people actually swim in that turd lake down there. I mean, it's so gross.
I saw now that you went back to diseases, we got to go back to CWD, and I just saw like a whole post on what will you do? Like, this was to that Timmy Horton guy. It's Timmy Horton, Ted Nugent, Dr. Deere. Like, it reminds me of like the Hulk Hogan when he went bad, like that group of guys that just run around as bad guys. They're like the NWO of CWD,
the New World Order
of CWD. And they were like, well, what will you do? Honest question. If somebody contracts CWD and dies, and he's like, it's not possible. It'll never happen. You're the problem for saying this, for even suggesting it could ever happen. You're the problem. And oh, by the way, all of our high-fence deer are genetically resistant. Buy those boner pills in the back of Playboy. They're not placebo, I promise. And, it's just, I can't say this out loud. I can't say that. I just hope one person will die. Like, just one person.
No, you don't
can't say that. I don't want anybody to I don't want anybody to die. But if one person were to die, that would be the end of and that would be the end of deer hunting too. That would just be the end. That would be the end of it.
I would rather we look back on this and go, all right, maybe we did a little too much, than look back on it and go, I wish we had done more.
But even if the culling is wrong, even if they get to a point where they say, you know what, culling deer is as stupid as putting plexiglass up at Subway when you ordered a club. Even if that happens, like the number of deer they're killing is so minuscule.
Oh, yeah.
Compared to the number of deer that are dying. Like, just say you hate it. Just say you hate it. Quit saying things like you're decimating the deer herd. It's not even statistically relevant. It's less than 1% of the hunter-killed deer. It's not even statistically relevant. I know you can't spell statistically or relevant, but it's neither of those things.
They can spell eradicate, though. Boy, they all can spell eradicate. But again, I feel like it's just basic deer biology. We've talked about it here a lot of like, you need to harvest 20 to 25% of the herd every year to keep your deer herd healthy. And us hunters don't do that every year. So maybe they should just stop saying they're culling for CWD and just say, this is deer management. Like, we want our deer herd to be healthy. So we must take this many deer You can do it, and if you can't, then we're going to go around and we have to do it ourselves. And it's just super frustrating. But again, we're back to ranting about CWD.
Well, I think it is a lot of just the way that they are allowed, that they can communicate. MDC compared to these other groups. MDC has to, they have to treat people respectfully, and they can't cuss, and they can't go on tangents, and they have to tell the truth all the time. They're not arguing the same argument, and
Yeah.
that's, you're not everyone's always going to understand that.
Right. That's a great point. Like if they put a lie out there and somebody screenshots that and takes it to legislators or takes it to someone,
Lawsuit.
for sure.
Yeah.
So they have to say anything that they put out or anything they say has to be able to go before like law enforcement of whatever ilk you call that and pass the test. And right now, like I get the Outdoor Wire, the Hunting Wire, the Water World Wire. Like every day I get bombarded with news of conservation, hunting, fishing from around the entire country. 5 days a week. I read 50 press releases a morning. And I read Idaho CWD plan the other day, Michigan. I mean, this isn't, and you just said it, Ted Nugent was talking about it. It's Texas, how can Ted Nugent now thinks Texas has lost its mind? Like Texas.
Them damn libs out there. So woke in Texas.
The Texas deer biologists are wrong. Every deer biologist in every state across the country is wrong. The USDA is wrong. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife is wrong. But a madman guitarist that wears a loincloth on stage has science figured out. Like that's who you're siding with. Like finding out Ted Nugent wasn't a real hunter was like finding out Santa Claus wasn't real. Like that's the men that I grew up hunting with all loved Ted Nugent. We used to go to the Star Plaza Theater in Maryville, Indiana, to see him every time he'd come out. Like the whole White Buffalo thing, like the mystical flight of the arrow. Like Ted Nugent was a hero, and
I watched the show for years before he got.
And now he's just sad. It's just sad.
And what's the old saying? Like misinformation can spread like wildfire, but the truth travels as slow as an iceberg, or something like that. And I feel like that's something we're dealing with a lot in this situation as well.
And I 100% believe that Ted Nugent is doing this because he owns high fence facilities and he's part of that high fence community, and profiting off of hunting is the only motive. Like
follow
that's the
the
only
money.
motive.
Follow the money.
That's what I keep saying to these guys. Like, follow the money. What? Back to your wild outfitting business that you are bragging about. Like that guy actually writes about, like, I have to wait. You'll have to wait for the deer to come from my neighbor's field, and then you can pay me to come from another state and shoot my neighbor's deer as soon as. But I'm anti-MDC, so my neighbors love me. It's like, what are you talking about, dude? You're hated for what you're doing, but it's legal, so good for you. Go for it. And those people that fall into the it's just anybody making money off of the resource. And then they've got all these like flat earthers repeating like parrots. Follow the money. Follow the money. Follow the money. It's not real. It's not real. It's COVID. Just stuff a cracker in that crackhead's face and get him to say whatever. So
Joe's probably sitting over there going, God damn, what did I get myself into? They've just been sitting here screaming about stuff.
To be fair, I prefaced this podcast in the first 30 seconds saying we were just going to talk about a lot of shit.
Yeah,
we've been too serious around here lately. We gotta.
Well, I mean, I am from Macon County, and as far as where I was born and raised, and as an adult, I've always deer hunted up there pretty much. So I've been hunting up there for 30 years. That's where this outbreak happened. I mean, we've got a little place that we hunt that's not, but maybe a couple miles from where the game farm of where this started at.
Thank you, Joe. I was going to say, why did it start in Macon County?
It started at a high fence game farm, and I've seen deer go over that fence personally as the fence has been down because there's been trees on it. I've seen them go back and forth. They can't claim that it never happened. I've seen it, but I can tell you that whatever they're doing to a degree is working. Like I said, my son shot a deer last year on opening weekend. We had it tested. It was negative. 2 miles from the site of the initial outbreak from however many years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I've got, between the two of us, we've got 20 punch tags from Macon County, and I don't think we've got a one that was ever tested positive. And that tells me that what it is they're doing is working. They're trying to target those hot spots, like they said, and thin out the particular deer that would have been in contact. And I think it kind of works. I mean, from my point of view, and it's not like that there's not deer to be hunted. I mean, there's one of them on the wall right there, you know. And I hunt a mix of public. I'd say probably 75% to maybe 25% of what I've got now, because like you said, everything's changed hands. When I was a kid, it was 100% private ground, and now it's, you know,
I often say if I went back in time, I wouldn't be able to explain hardly any of the technological advances that we have today in terms of actually recreating them. I could tell people how a cell phone works, but I couldn't tell them how to build one. You know, I'd have to go back to basically the invention of the wheel to be able to bring new technology to mankind. But I would also be able to explain how digging a moat around your castle could help keep people from coming in contact with your castle. And I've been using that analogy a lot. I mean, what they're doing with the culling is essentially the equivalent of trying to dig a moat around these positive areas.
Yeah.
So you're just trying to create a barrier. Nobody, like, oh God, if I hear one more person say they're killing healthy deer to try to find a sick deer. No, they're trying to reduce the number of potential carriers in that very specific area so they can't take the disease further outside of that area.
Yeah.
And if you're cool with that, like, I get it. There are people that are like, I don't care. Like, let it happen. Like, those people you can't argue with. You know, if that's where you're at, then that's where you're at. Those are the flat earthers that I'm talking about. But to the people that are like, I just don't understand why we're culling, and they're hearing all these different things, there's no conspiracy here. There's no secret. They're trying to have fewer deer around the area where they found a positive. So they're not trying to kill deer to find positives. They are looking to see how the number is going, but at the end of the day, they're just trying to reduce the number of deer. And we're still killing 300,000 deer a year in this state. The 4,000, the 0.7% just isn't impact. It's not statistically relevant.
Yeah. You know, really my biggest fear is that if we were ever to get like Wisconsin to where, you know, we're 40% or more positive, I mean, what would be the point of even hunting if maybe every other deer would be one that you couldn't eat? Because, I mean, ultimately that should be the goal of why we go hunting, is to eat the deer.
100%. And that's where Doug's at. And that's what we did. We brought a private citizen who's living this nightmare.
A farmer
To explain this situation, and they're not buying it. They're not buying it. You know.
Well, they're in their own echo chambers. So, I mean, it was a step in the right direction, and I will note it. I have noticed, and I will give credit to a lot of people now in those comment sections mentioning some of the things that was brought up in that meeting. So beforehand, I wasn't seeing anyone piping in and going against the grain on these posts on social media, but I have been seeing a lot more people going, well, no, that's not right. They're not trying to eradicate anything. No, that's not right. They're not trying to do this. They're not trying to do that. So I think it's a step in the right direction for sure. And if MDC is smart, and I think Jason and that whole crew is, that come fall, they'll take this on the road and they'll start hitting some towns and counties and stuff like that and having very similar kind of town hall meetings discussing this as well.
So here's what I want to do. Here's my next project in line with what we started doing is I want to do a ongoing series of interviews with deer hunters to prove Joseph's point that when you say all, you're just wrong. Like, I want to talk to the extreme trophy hunters who hate everything that doesn't result in them killing another booner. Like, I want to talk to the guy who hasn't cleaned his gun in 5 years, but is going to take it out
on the podcast every week.
No, I want to like find these people. So if you're listening, you're interested, I want to do like 5-10 minute, just quick hitting profiles. Like, tell me why you deer hunt. I'll ask the same questions of everybody and just collect these different profile pieces of the entire smorgasbord of folks that are actually out deer hunting. Because at the end of the day, MDC surveys are still well over 70% positive. And, you know, that one, the trophy hunting segment and the flat earthers who'll follow them around and the high fencers, you know, those are the people that are against it.
Maybe we should start calling them flat herders instead of flat
herders.
earthers. There's flat herders talking about the CWD is not a thing.
I don't know. Like, I read the other day that Missouri is 49th in childhood education. I hope that's not true.
No, it is. We're actually in last place in average starting salary for teachers. We don't do a good job educating our youth here in the state.
The Facebook threads would back that statement up. Like, yeah. I hate the capital letters, but I think I hate like the mixed letters more. Like when it's like they have some capital letters and some lowercase letters in the same word, you know, and then it's like playing Scrabble, trying to figure out what the word is sometimes.
Or no punctuation and just trying to like slow down and be like, all right, where am I supposed to break on this? What am I supposed to do here? But, well, we're kind of coming. Go ahead.
I just had my wonderful girlfriend point out to me, these are the people you're fighting. Like, just look around, like, stop doing this. Stop doing this.
No, I have to remind myself that too. Like, you do a better job of actually commenting and holding your own and stuff like that. And I do just more of voyeur. I read it and I start typing and then I'm like, don't do that. And then I delete it and then I'll go back and I'll type something else up and I'm like, no, don't do that. And I just never end up saying anything until we get on the podcast. And then I'm a little fired up and pissed off. So you do a good job. You're holding your own out there. I appreciate you on the front lines.
Thanks. Taking a break.
Well, speaking of your lovely girlfriend, she had a fun mystery bait bucket question that we talked about at Paddle Dawn's wedding. And I thought that could be a fun way to wrap up this podcast. If you're new, we like to finish or start to wrap things up with what we call the mystery bait bucket question. For you YouTubers, what you see there is an actual vintage bait bucket that Brandon and I got at the Midway Antique Mall over 5 years ago before we started this podcast. And generally, we just take your questions. Submit a question. Very rarely does it have anything to do with outdoors. You can email us, info@driftwoodoutdoors.com, or you can send us a message on Facebook or Instagram, Driftwood Outdoors. Now, this question comes from Lauren, and she had asked, if you could have a wild animal as a pet, what would it be? Now, the caveats of this are that the pet is just as domesticated as like your dog. Like Brandon and I both have black labs, Willie and Duke. Is there a chance that we would have to fight that dog to the death because it is a wild animal at heart? Yes. Are those chances very slim? Yes. So imagine it being like a black lab as a pet. What wild animal would you want?
So my answer at the wedding was the only real wild animal domesticated that I've ever enjoyed was a bobcat. I thought it was a really cool, it's just like a big cat, you know, and I thought that it was probably like a 30-pound bobcat. So that was cool. I would love a grizzly bear. I mean, I live for those, you know, those funny videos about how I thought life would be today. And the guy's driving around with the grizzly bear in the passenger seat of his Jeep and swimming with the grizzly bear and all that. I just don't want to have to, like, I don't even like picking up dog poop. So picking up grizzly bear poop would really suck, and feeding it. And then we probably couldn't fight it off if it ever had a bad day. So I got to stay away from my dream pet, but you know, I'll go bobcat.
Yeah, those bear cubs are so adorable. That would be hard not to take one if you had the choice and you were assured it was going to be completely domesticated.
If there was a bear cub fostering program, like the Retrieving Freedom puppy fostering program, I'd foster a bear cub every year and just give it back at a year.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think I've always thought it'd be cool to have a fox as a pet, which we kind of talked about at that wedding. It's kind of a combination between a cat and a dog. And there are people, I don't know, Missouri's pretty lax in their pet, what you can and can't have for a pet. I don't know if that one is legal or not. I don't think it is. If I remember correctly, in Missouri, it just can't be like a native species in the state, if I remember correctly. But we don't need the rules for this hypothetical question. So I would probably say a fox would be a fun one. A medium-sized fox, still playful, still fun, big bushy tail.
Red, gray,
I'd probably go red.
like the fox and the hound fox.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you see those videos online too, where they find a trampoline and they're like jumping all over it and just spazzing out, and they look adorable. Like that would be a fun pet.
It would.
All right, Joe.
I'd get White Fang.
A wolf.
A wolf. Like a big timber wolf. You imagine you walk into a bar with one of those on a leash and people would be like, it's my service dog.
Get it trained up.
Yeah.
Joe's got his own dire wolf.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be badass. Yes.
Like, watch your hands.
Oh, that's great. Well, do we have any final thoughts? The final cast of the pod?
Happy for you getting the lot, man. Like, I know what it
thank
means to fall into a dream when, you know, sometimes you didn't even see it coming. So I don't think you were planning to buy property in that area this week. But, you know, that's the cool thing about our little friend circle is, you know, Shags was like, you should talk to Joe. I was like, you're right. Call Joe. Joe now owns a lot. So Shags and Joe will be down there in the same neighborhood. We'll have a good place to hang out. And I got to go find where my spirit feels at peace. Because it's not there.
I wanted to tell you guys. I got with Roger. I'm going to take Roger deer hunting this fall. He's never been deer hunting before.
Oh wow!
Dude,
why
don't you buy Big Rock Candy Mountain from Roger?
Maybe if he retires someday, that's what I will.
He gonna move and sell, man.
He'll sell it
right to the right person.
Yeah.
He's not leaving it in a lurch. So
I do like that about that place. Are you going to take him up north? Because you still hunt up in Macon County, don't you? Or you hunt down there?
We're gonna hunt the big woods. We're just gonna go right out the back door and go off down hunting the mountains. I'm gonna see if I can get him a deer.
Oh, you'll kill a deer right there behind his place, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So
kind of been looking on Onyx a little bit. So yeah, super excited.
Oh, that place is so cool.
That's a lot of fun, man. That's exciting. I'm excited to have you as my neighbor too, dude. That'll be a good time. Have to get your lot cleared out and toss something up there, and we'll have a lot of fun fishing the river we no longer speak of.
When you and Rachel are sitting there dreaming at night right now, what are you guys talking about? Like, what kind of timeline? Is this 10 years from now or 10 months from now that you'll start putting something together, you think?
Probably within the next 5 years. Within the next 5 years, we'd like to have something like a permanent thing. So
that's not long. That's too long. So let's talk about one of those like Amish made, ready to be delivered little cabins. Like when you said I could use it, it has to exist for me to use it. So
you want to be in next weekend, right?
Yeah, like we can at least get a camper pad going real quick, right? Like
yeah. Well, that was kind of my idea was to maybe start with camper pad and get that going, and then start on cabin stuff like that. I'd like to build as big as possible because I want to put my boats in there and be able to keep other people's boats if they want to put them in there. Like if you guys want to put your kayaks, canoes, all that stuff, want to have a place to put stuff.
Hell yeah, I'll just do my raft down there. That'd be badass.
Yeah,
that's my plan.
Yeah, you build everything so I don't have to. I like the way you're thinking, Joe.
There we go.
But hurry up,
dude. Right?
Come on. We don't have all day.
Get the shop built first. Like, come on, give me a place to put my raft.
There we go.
All right, man. Always fun. Great seeing you. Gear review coming up next. All right, Brandon, into the podcast, the beginning of a gear review. What are you reviewing for us today?
Not a piece of gear, but a place. So I dropped my youngest daughter off at college today. Both of my girls are now at the University of Missouri. As of about 10 a.m. this morning, I became an empty nester.
Ooh.
Super weird feeling, but yet I'm still taking them both out for dinner tonight. So they haven't flown too far from the nest yet, but pulling into Mizzou and kind of just letting it sink in that both of my kids are there. It's a really cool school. And for people that are out there trying to figure out where to go to college or where to send your kids to college, there's some other great schools in Missouri, but I was actually talking to name drop U.S. Senator Eric Schmidt about it the other night at the fair because his oldest daughter's trying to decide where to go to school. He's like, "Are your girls happy at Mizzou?" They love it, so it feels really good to be dropping them off somewhere that I know they're going to get a good education. I feel like they're pretty safe. People want to talk about Columbia. It's not South Chicago where I grew up. It's a beautiful community, and graduating from Mizzou myself with a MBA, I'm proud of that. And so yeah, so shout out to the University of Missouri. Another cool thing, my daughter's RA, so her floor manager is a puppy raiser for RFI, which was just completely random. Like of all the RAs, there's only one on campus, and it turns out to be my daughter's. And so she's got Emmy, the service dog in training, on her floor with a ROTC girl who's volunteering for us, which is pretty neat. So shout out University of Missouri, ZOU.
MIZ. It's pretty wild to think of little Oopsie getting introduced to her when she was like 5 years old, fishing Lake Taneycomo with the late Chuck Grease, to now thinking that she is a freshman in college. It's hard to wrap my head around.
They're both better kids than me, man. Like my dad and mom are here. Like I was like, "You guys remember the day you dropped me off at Purdue?" And they're like, "Yeah, you were so sad." My mom's like, I was like, "Oh yeah, Mom, I sure was." I was waiting for them to get far enough out of sight so I could walk down to the gas station and like buy my first pack of cigarettes and like freedom. I felt like William Wallace just screaming freedom at the top of my lungs. Anna was ready to go too.
That's funny.
Her mom went over and helped her decorate inside the dorm, and I carried stuff up, and she's gonna be settled in. So yeah, man, it's crazy how like everything's different and how it happens, but like nature still happens in our life. I've been watching birds fly out of the nest around my farm all year and making sure they were out before I knocked their nest off my barn. Them damn swallows. And my kid like literally left the nest today, which is crazy to think about.
Pretty wild.
So, yeah.
Well, with my gear review, I'm staying in the city of Columbia as well. Going to give my buddy Sean a shout out. He owns the Jersey Mike's on Grindstone, and man, best commercial sub you can find. Like when it comes to sandwich shops anymore, like it's the only one I go to. Never Subway, never Jimmy John's. I'm a Jersey Mike's guy now. And when my mom and when my dad was still alive, they would always go to Jersey Mike's after one of the doctor visits in Portland back home. But my buddy Sean Bongart owns the one on Grindstone. My buddy Sterling owns the one over by the mall too. So either one in Columbia works. Just want to give them a shout out because I really do like their sandwiches. I always go a cold one on a wrap to try to make it as healthy as possible since I've been on this health and wellness kick this year. But man, when they got that flat top going, some of those are really good.
I like oil and vinegar on my subs, and Jersey Mike's has the best oil and vinegar splash on any sub.
Do you have a favorite, your go-to?
I just like I don't know what they call it there, but I get the same sandwich every turkey bacon and roast beef, or not
the club.
Turkey ham and roast beef. Yeah, turkey ham and roast beef.
That's what I get too. And you must do it Mike's way. I don't do it Mike's way. I don't put any of the juice on it. I just want light mayo and then as many pickles and pepperoncinis or yellow pepper or whatever as you can fit on it.
Really? I'm going lettuce, tomato, black olives, pickles, onions, oregano, oil and vinegar, mayonnaise, a little bit of salt and pepper.
Man, you just put everything on that thing.
Everything but green pepper and everything but peppers.
Yeah. How about you, Joe? You got a favorite Jersey Mike sub?
Just the original. That's my. I'm pretty straightforward. Like I said, I eat lunch at 11:30, so the classics are what I stick with.
Yeah, they don't have fried chicken with gravy at Jersey Mike's.
No meatloaf.
All right, guys. Good job, man. Thanks again, Joe. Appreciate you.
Yeah, we'll see you guys.
All right. See you down the trail.